Meantime, the third human case associated with the outbreak of bird flu has been reported from a farm worker in Michigan. This worker reported experiencing respiratory symptoms before testing positive last Thursday. Experts say this is tied to a dairy outbreak. The two previous cases of bird flu, one was in Texas, the other was in Michigan, but none of these cases are associated with the others. The CDC has reported that the general risk to the public does remain low. And for more on this now, joining me is Dr. Rick Bright. He's a virologist and the former head of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. Dr. Bright, thank you so much for being here. You were just out with an op-ed on Sunday that got our attention. The title of it is Why the New Human Case of Bird Flu is So Alarming. So why do we all need to be paying attention to the bird flu?
Yeah, this bird flu virus has really taken hold and spreading across our country, and it's been in poultry for a couple of years. The last few months, we've seen it infect a wide variety of dairy cattle across our country. And the more dairy cattle that we have infected with this, we have more people exposed to the cows and the milk that's infected with this virus. And we're starting to see more cases now. People who work with these dairy cows get infected with this virus. The first two infections over the last couple of months have been mild with a bit of an eye infection. The last case we saw last week reported from Michigan, however, changed to a respiratory infection. So we believe the virus is adapting to people and is eventually going to take hold and potentially spread person to person.
Does the fact that it is those respiratory symptoms mean that it could spread more easily among humans as well?
Absolutely. I mean, if you imagine there's an eye infection or a cough or a sneeze, and more people can transmit a virus through a cough or a sneeze than they can through eye secretions. And so the more we can expel and expectorate this virus into the air through droplets, of course, the more chance it has to spread to other people.
The CDC still says the threat to the public remains low. Do you agree with that?
I think to the general public, as long as you're not drinking raw milk or coming in contact with these infected cattle, you're probably pretty safe still. But if you're working on one of these dairy farms or you're in that process chain where you're either working in the pasteurization facility or you're working in a slaughterhouse that is happening to process these infected cows, your risk is actually pretty high. And the CDC's put out guidelines on how to protect yourself. But the general public, stay away from sick and dead animals and don't drink raw milk, and you're pretty good for now.
If you were head of the CDC, would you be doing anything differently?
Absolutely. I would be doing a lot more testing. We are flying blindly right now.
We don't want to be alarmist here, but just if you could give us what you think would be both the best case scenario and the worst case scenario with the spread of bird flu.
Well, the best case scenario is, we've been tracking this for 27 years now, as it's jumped in a few people here and there. We've never seen it in this many mammals, domestic mammals before, where there's a chance we can manage it and control it. It will burn out and go away in the next few months. Best case. Worst case scenario, it will continue to evolve and infect more cows. Matter of fact, the USDA just reported 13 more herds across the U.S. over the weekend, and more cows infected or more people infected. Once this virus begins to infect more people, it will adapt. It can spread widely person to person. It can cause a lot of severe illness. Right now, over the last 27 years, about 52% of the people known to be infected with this virus have died. And so it can be really lethal. We don't really have vaccines ready for it yet, and the antiviral drug arsenal we have is very limited. Worst case scenario, it can flash like wildfire. We're not ready for it. It can cause a lot of devastation, much worse than what we saw with the SARS-CoV-2 virus.
And just to get some clarity for our viewers, Doctor, I think some people might hear of animals that are getting sick and start to have some concerns about whether the food they're eating is safe. Is there any reason to be concerned with that?
We haven't really been able to confirm that. So we're trying to track to see how these cows initially got infected with this virus. Was it a wild bird that landed in the food supply or in the water supply? Was it something mixed in the food supply that was used to feed animals on a particular farm? We don't have those answers right now. Right now, we do know that it is spreading really well among the dairy cattle, and it's jumping from dairy cattle to other mammals, cats, and alpacas and others in the area. So we just need to make sure that if you see a sick animal now, it's really important to keep your distance, call for help, don't expose yourself.
Dr. Rick Bright, thank you very much for your time.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.